You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Michael from Arizona, and with me always are my good friends.
Jay from the hills of Texas.
AK Mike in Texas.
And Shannon G in Mesa AZ.
Welcome back, everybody. We've had a couple of really good birthdays, and Shannon was missed a couple of those, but we've got him back in the studio, and it's a good thing because he's been out busy as a beaver.
Yeah, so ventured over to Southern California for the Big Jolt 2. It's an EDF only event, and the reason why it's called Big Jolt 2 is there used to be an event called Big Jolt that was kind of a generic electric event, but they haven't had it in like 9 years, and they kind of resurrected it. So they said, let's just do it as EDF. So we said, okay, that's cool. But what was really cool is this was an all electric weekend for me, and it was one of my friends, Matt Webb. We drove his Tesla Model Y.
Oh wow!
To California and back, and so that was it was like, oh, what if we can have an all electric event? It was pretty cool. So we drove the Model Y, and couple stops, just like you stop anyway. Especially at my age, I got to stop anyway.
Yeah, we know about that.
What you're talking about?
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a blast. Just cruising over there, and then the event was really it wasn't huge, probably like 30 maybe 40 guys, but they had a speed run, and that was really cool. There's a couple guys that had the BBM electric jets, and I'm pretty sure it was the Electra. Is it the Electra? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think they clocked him at like
it looks like a Bandit.
Yeah. Clocked him at like 203 on the one run, so he averaged out, and he won without question. There was
199.99.
There was a couple other ones that just weren't quite up to the speed, but it was just cool that they had a halfway decent radar gun, so we went out there and did that. Got to see some of my good friends I haven't seen for a while. The Hex, Roger and Brent Rogers. There's a Saab that I'll at some point probably bring up because I need to build it. That was in the movie. What was it called? What was the one with Nicolas Cage and Tommy Lee Jones, and they were flying Apaches? Firebirds.
Fire or something.
Oh,
Firebirds.
Firebirds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the molds from the people who made the jet. It was a Saab Draken that was used in the end battle, and we got those molds. And Roger, he's master with fiberglass and composites. He reworked them and pulled a bunch of copies, and there was about half a dozen of them flying.
Really?
There was one flying at AEF a couple years ago. I don't know if you guys remember. It was pretty cool. But Roger had his out, and it was cool to see that in the air. I've got one because I was one of the original investors. We were gonna, me and Pat and a couple of guys were gonna kind of sell them, and we did. We sold a couple, but didn't go through. But anyway, it was just cool.
I think I remember you talking about that at some
so
point.
it was pretty cool to see it fly, and it was. I just took over my F4, my good old trusty E-Flight F4, and that flew great. And then my little mini Habu, the 50 millimeter Habu, great. I love that little airplane. That's so much fun. And they had a slalom, on the runway, contest. So I was like, okay, what the heck? Well, I entered it. I entered with the little 50 millimeter one because I'm like, okay, this shouldn't be too hard. Well, it was really windy, and that plane's really light. So I'm doing it, and I'm sliding all over the place. It was more like I was drifting. It's like Fast and Furious. I'm drifting all over the place. Gran Turismo, and everyone's laughing. They're just cracking up, and I made it through the course. I just didn't do it as fast as everybody else, but it was just kind of fun to get out there and do that. One guy who did it, Victor Shamless, he's come to AEF a bunch of times. He had gone through the course, and he was coming back. When you come back, you go straight, full throttle. So he's coming, and we had the runway cleared. At least we're supposed to. So one guy who was like part of the contest, but he hadn't gone yet, he was like playing with his plane just off to the side, but past where the slalom ended. And Victor comes flying down and smack right into him. It's horrible. And it was a free-wing MiG-21, and he crashed into I don't remember what it was, but it was just like that guy shouldn't have been there. So I felt bad for it was it's foam, everything was repairable, but it was just like like just one of those like you see an accident, you're like I can't believe I just saw that. So
right, I know,
it was pretty cool. But the weather was beautiful, great raffle. But there was one guy that bought like a gazillion tickets, and he literally won like a third of the
everything.
prizes.
Right. Yeah. Sounds like
but
Barry.
I got a nice little actually I got it right here. I got from RTL Fasteners. I got 2 cases, and then they're full of various screws and tools and whatnot. So
about very nice. I have a few of those.
Yeah. So I got about $100 worth on there, and then I don't think I'm trying to think there was any major crashes. It wasn't, but just it was at the Pomona Valley Model Airplane Club, which is right in Prado Park, not too far from Chino Airport. So we saw a lot of cool full scale. There was like a whole flight of RVs, 4s, 8s, just like formation. Cool. There was a couple of T-34s. I think we saw. I know there was a Wildcat. We saw one of the Wildcats. That was really cool. Mike's bouncing all over the place.
I know, right? Mike's jumping for joy.
I put my hands on my computer and it just jumped. So oops.
Yeah, but
how far away from the Chino Airport is it? Is it more than 5 miles?
It's real close to 5 miles. Like they have the 400-foot limit and everything like that. So.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, and close. Then so that was just we only went for like it was kind of like Friday was like you could fly whatever you wanted. Saturday was just EDFs. And then Sunday, we decided we're going to go up and see the Peterson Car Museum up in LA. I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but it's like fabulous. But on the way there, we stopped at the Whittier Narrows RC Airfield, and if you know what that is, that's the field where like Banana Hobby Pete did all the demos of all the planes
right next to the gun club.
Yeah, where it's the gun range. Yeah, so we were right there, and there was a couple guys out there flying. So it was cool just to see. There's a guy doing U control, so the control line. That was kind of cool just to see that. I can't do that. I'd go around 3 times and throw up. So I can't do that.
That's a little difficult.
But they have like a tether. Ever heard of tether cars?
Yes.
I guess it was a big thing back in the 60s, 70s, but yeah, they still have a tether car track, and there was a guy getting ready to set up one and run, but I didn't get to see it run, but that was just cool to see that. So and then we hung around LA and did a couple of things, drove home, and it was really cool just to experience a Tesla and see that hey, it's pretty darn cool. I'm almost sold on one. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
all right.
almost.
Well, you'll have to come over and drive the Volvo.
So you have
a
Volvo
fully electric Volvo.
Okay. Well, something electric. I'm just sold on electric now. So.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, but it's got its it's the same as the EDFs. You charge your battery up and you got 3.5 minutes to fly it. And if it's 110 degrees outside, you got 2.5 minutes to fly it. So
yeah,
it worked the same way.
Yeah,
that was the one thing I noticed with the vehicles. As soon as I backed
out
of my driveway,
it's a dry heat. They said.
Yeah.
Well, but when we sat down and thought about it, it's like we stopped as much as we would I compared it to taking. I have a 4Runner. If I'd taken my 4Runner, I would have made the exact same stops. It just would have cost 3 times as much.
Right.
So
yeah, I went to Southern California myself. Actually, I went to LA because not to interrupt your story, but I was there and I drove, and you're right. It took me 3 stops, and I spent about $250 worth of gas. So it was spendy. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, we'll come back to that here. Just finish your story.
Yeah. So yeah, other than the wrecked Tesla on the way that we saw at a charging station on the way home, that was interesting. There was this guy. I'm pretty sure it wasn't his Tesla. I think he would just because the way he sounded, and because he's on the phone with somebody, because the right side tires were blown out. He's charging the car. I don't even know why. So he's in the Charger. The right side tires are blown out, and the rims are all bent up. The nose is like, I can't even tell you what. It hit something or ran into something, and he kept going. And he's trying to explain where he's at, and I was trying to help him. I'm like, hey, and he was like, it's almost like he didn't want anybody to know where he was, even though he was trying to tell him where he was. It was weird. But just to see, and I've seen videos like, oh, Teslas, once you do this, it's total. Well, this one for sure.
Yeah,
it was pretty much total in my book. So
you weren't going to Gorilla Glue that one back together.
No, not even super glue. Not even super glue. So.
Now, how did you get your planes over? Did you just throw them in the back of that thing?
Yeah. So
or did you pull a trailer?
No, we had everything in the Tesla inside.
Wow.
We didn't have a trailer or anything. I took my F4, which isn't that big, and I've got a nice little stand that holds everything. I took the little Pabu. Matt just has the Horizon E-Flight A10, the twin 64 millimeter. But we had his. We took a canopy, got a full size Easy Up canopy. My chairs you guys love so much. A couple of those, and then our batteries and stuff. But there's a lot of storage. Like you got the frunk in the front.
Yep, that's true.
So we had in the front we had my charger box, and then our clothes, and then in the back underneath there's a nice. We had a cooler in there and a couple other things, and then like underneath the back seat is where we put the one chair and the canopy fit under that space with a chair with the back seats folded down. So I probably because I was like, I really should bring in another airplane, because I just like to fly. But we had room, and I figured also if you put too much more weight in, that's going to affect your battery range too. So
it does.
Just like anything.
Just like everything. Put enough weight in there, the battery takes a lot more energy to move it. So it was a great weekend, and I did post on Park Flyer Podcast listeners Facebook page, the Facebook group,
and I was going to post again, but the internet connection out there was lousy, so I got my one good shot. But it was fun. I had a really good time.
Got some photos, I'm sure, though. One or two photos.
Yeah, I got some photos. I posted a few.
Cool.
There. It was I was too busy flying and having a good time.
That's the important part. Jay and I have actually gone to events where we've come back and went like, you took photos, right? I'm like, no, we were flying. And oh, crap,
Yeah.
So, well, that's very cool. So how did you come to find out about it? You said they hadn't held it in a long time, but was there advertisement or somebody knew about it?
It was online.
Was it?
One of I think it was under the Facebook under the EDF events or something, or that club maybe has their own page.
On RC groups or?
No, on Facebook.
On the Facebook page. Okay.
Yeah. Because there's a gazillion EDF sites or pages on Facebook that I kind of subscribe to.
Now, did you see anything for sale or anybody trying to sell things, or was it not that kind of event?
There was planes for sale. Yeah, there was a couple, for sale signs on random, I think a guy was trying to sell a 90 millimeter Viper. Trying to think what else. They had a couple of vendors actually. So they had eFlux RC. They do a lot of the jet fans.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so Gary was there. That's the first event Gary's done in like 3 years.
Oh wow!
So I invited him out again for Jet Rally and AEF. So he's thinking about it. He's like, yeah, I'm ready to go back out and do his thing. Paul,
that's cool.
From Zap House of Balsa was there, and then FR Sky, Steve and his contingent, and they did
Steve.
They did some demos. Some of the with the Black Star FPV team, they did some demos.
Did they?
Of the FPV. Yeah, there's a lot of guys doing that. A lot of FPV, and then on Horizon, they were definitely a sponsor because they provide a lot of the rings, but there was like a gaggle of like 8 of the F-16s. And I don't know why they didn't invite me with my F4 because it was an E-flight, and they did the last time.
There you
go.
Like,
oh, come on, guys, you already got it. Oh, I'm sorry, man, I forgot you were here. I'm like, oh, well. But
have to get a bigger sign next time.
Yeah,
this is my E-flight plane. Pick me.
I'm E-flight. I'm E-flight.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like a good time, and the weather cooperated. It wasn't real super windy or anything like that.
Yeah, just later in the day, the wind picked up probably like 2:00, and that's when we were having the slalom, and that's when I was sliding all over the place. But other than that, it was breezy, but it was right down the runway and had no problems whatsoever.
So was this event kind of like a trial run to see if they're going to do it again, or was this just a kind of, hey, let's start doing this again kind of thing?
I'm hoping it was a let's start doing this again. It was just that club had no events. Like we went to an event it was a scale event pre-COVID, but they haven't had anything since. And this club's just
gotcha.
Yeah, so hopefully they have more. And I don't know if I think the county who the land's on, I think they wouldn't let them do anything for a while. But it's a nice facility. They don't have any power, so we had our solar, Jackery generator, and we actually did really good with that. So it was fully charged when we got there. We put up the panels, which are 100-watt panels, and I charged 2 of my Success 5000s. I charged my little 1800 3 cells for the Habu a couple times. I think Matt charged 1, and it was like at 50%. Like it didn't budge. Like it took a while to come down to that, but and then if you leave it on, it was back up to like 60, 70 before the day was over. So
wow, that's amazing.
No gas.
So no electric, no gas generators. It was all solar.
No, there was. Everyone else had them, but everyone was like totally infatuated with our. Oh wow, that's cool. Does it really work? It's like, yes, the sun actually generates power, despite what some people like. That's
true. Well, you're pretty lucky though, because the last week I've been in LA, it's been kind of drizzly, rainy, and.
Oh yeah, they said they were really thankful because before that the weather had been horrible. They were worried it was going to be bad. Yeah. So. But just real good bunch of guys put it on, and I love going out for other events. And
that's amazing. So I know that California has some pretty good events, and I try to get over there for the jet rally on every year, but we'll have to see if we can't make one of those next.
Well, even
next
this
year.
weekend they're having up in Apple Valley. They're having a jet rally up there.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to get kind of a little bit more advanced notice. We can kind of put that out there so we can kind of see, if we can get people kind of going. That's kind of neat. Apple Valley is always one of those places, though. If it gets hot out there, that's some serious density altitude. Yeah. I've actually done some real stuff, real competitions out there, aerobatic competitions, and that was one of the places that I was always like, oh, I liked it, but at the same time, I hated it. I had a love-hate relationship. Yeah, because your performance just was horrible. If you got picked to do the afternoon run, you were just going to get hosed. Yep. If you were in the morning where it was nice and cool, you did much better. So I know how that is as far as getting the performance out of an EDF. It would be much better in the mornings.
Yeah, well, that was more of a turbine event up there, so.
Even then,
still
turbine or any of that stuff is using the density altitude is just less air. So it's kind of cool.
Yep.
Well, that's very exciting. I was in Southern California. I was in LA. I drove out there actually because Shannon and I were talking. Shannon sent me a note that basically said that Mike Calloway's estate was being opened up again to kind of move some of the stuff that they had kept for a while after Big Mike had passed away, and now they were looking at kind of moving some more of that out. And so I got a a note that Shannon's like, hey, or was it Shannon? No, it wasn't Shannon. It was Harry.
No, it was me.
Harry sent it to me.
Well, Harry sent it to me first, or maybe to both of us. And then I sent a message to you, and I said, we got to save the Cessna.
That is correct. Somehow. We do have to save the Cessna somehow. And so I gave Harry a call, and I told him, I said, how's this going to work? And he kind of walked me through. He said that it was still in the trailer, that literally I was the last person to fly it.
Wow.
So he's like, if anybody belongs to that airplane, you do, because you were the first one and you were the last one to actually fly the airplane. and that kind of tugged at my heartstrings. I was kind of like, oh man, I don't know what to do. So I through those guys, I was not going to be able to be there at this estate sale, and so I was a little worried about it. And so I got in touch with Harry, and we talked about it. And I told him, I said, look, I'll be willing to put a blind offer on it, and then if anybody comes up with more than that, they can have it, because it's really about the estate, not about just taking the airplane. And so I would prefer that it stay in the kind of the pseudo family, but I totally understand if somebody's going to get it. So we talked about it, and I gave him authorization to go over there. And I was working at the time, and about a day later, I got a note that said, "Hey, congratulations, you're the owner of a new Cessna and 182 Skylink." So then I was panicked. I called Jay and I go, "Oh, how am I going to get that thing here? Because it's not small. It's not small at all."
No.
And the trailer was exactly, the trailer was being used. So the Callaways were moving out of Mike's. They had kept the house that Mike had, and they had now sold it, and they had to move their stuff out of it. So they were like, "We're leaving this weekend," and I'm like, "I'm working." And so Harry volunteered, thank goodness, to take his truck over and pick up the Cessna. He sent me a picture of it, and it was the only thing in the back. It took up literally the whole back of the truck, and it hung off the tailgate by about 4 feet. So I started laughing. He's like, he called me. He's like, "Oh man, I made a wrong turn. I got on the freeway. I hope this thing stays connected." So he was driving real slow on the interstate, but he lucked out. There was a lot of traffic, so he didn't have to go super fast. So I literally drove my trailer over and met up with him, and we spent the whole day together. It was great. I dropped my trailer off. He had actually picked up the airplane, so it was sitting in his guest bedroom, which was kind of funny on its own, because getting it into his house was quite the. I thought he was just going to put it in the garage, but his wife Karen said, "No, I need my car in there," so he moved it into the house, which was a big task. He said Karen was holding the back end of it. They're swinging it around, trying to get it into the doorway. But he and I worked that morning to get it into the trailer, and we parked the trailer. And then he and I spent the whole day together working on his P-51. So he now owns a brand new, who makes it? It's the Comparf. So he owns a new Comparf P-51. Very big airplane. It's very nice. And he was trying to set up the throttle and the choke servos. And so he and I worked on that for a little while. And he had some ideas, and I had some ideas. And I told him, from a geometry standpoint, this is kind of what you're looking for. And he was mounting them one way, and I suggested another way. Anyway, he wound up going with what I suggested. And I just got a video from him where he took it out to the field and ran the motor and said, "Oh my gosh, it works exactly the way I want it to. Your suggestion was perfect, and everything's going well." So, but so anyway, I drove home with that big trailer, and when I got here, trying to unload it by myself was quite the quite the scene.
Looks smaller.
You called me. I had to come help you.
It did look smaller in the pictures, but I definitely got it on the ground. Now, there were a couple of parts missing, unfortunately. So luckily for me, they had those in stock, and I was able to reorder them, and they are now here sitting on my shelf. But it does need a little tender love and care. It's been sitting for almost 2 years now, right?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah.
But now we can get pizza.
We can get pizza.
And gold.
The pizza's still in there, and gold.
And gold. Yeah, and whatever the other bundles were.
That is correct. Yeah, and there's a body in the back. I don't know if that's really where it's been
that's just some dude that passed out. Don't worry about that, Mike. We'll take care of that. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, it was fun to reunite with it, and of course, now I'm trying to clear my tables off in my shop to get that thing out and get it kind of working. So I'm excited to bring that to the next Electric Festival. I think I'll put a little of my touch or two on it, and we'll see where it goes from there. But
so what are the specs on that plane? How many batteries does it take, and and everything? I don't remember.
That's a good question. I haven't dove that far into it yet. I got it out of the trailer. What I can tell you is that it is big.
I thought it was like 2 8 cells or some kind of stupid thing like that. Like
it probably is.
It was big. Like I remember,
it was like 4 6 cells or something. It was huge. I mean, it
4
was
6 cells. That's probably
It was
true.
It was on 12S.
Well, I can tell you that the motor on that thing is huge. I think it's a 100 kV. You know what? I'd be interesting to know the specs on that little paramotor that you sent us, because this motor's
the electric one.
It looks almost identical to the one that you had on your paramotor.
Yeah, I think
just
it's
don't
a
know
140 is what I want to say that the paramotor was a 140 kV. But
this one may be a one. This one's either a 100 or a 140, 150 maybe. But it's big.
Because the battery pack for the paramotor, now that thing flies for I think an hour, the guy said. Mm-hmm. It is monstrous. So if I mean, we're talking like, I don't know, 8 by 4 by 15.
Wow, yeah, that's
like, it's just monstrous.
Here's the other thing too, Shannon. I don't even know if I didn't dig into the bottom of that thing, because he's got the batteries underneath the cockpit,
right?
And you got to pull the cockpit out of there. And so, I came home and had to turn around and go right back to work. So I drove all the way home and just unloaded the trailer, jumped back in the truck, drove to the airport, went right back to LA, because I had to go to work. So this is my first. We're doing this podcast, but this is my first time home, because I worked all week. And so I don't know if the batteries are under there or not. I mean, he may have left them in there, or, just undone them, disconnected them. So I haven't gotten that far in there. But to answer your question, Jay, it is 12 feet of wing. It's 144-inch wingspan. And it weighs about, I want to say about 40 pounds. It's pretty heavy. It's got, like I said, a 100 kV or 140 kV motor, and I did get an extra prop with it, and he had a lighting, he has the lights on it, that kind of thing. It's got landing gear, big fat tires, and of course all the other stuff is in there as well. And he gave me the little sign that says aircraft for rent or whatever, smuggling, or crossed it out and wrote some other stuff. So he gave me the sign too. It was pretty funny.
Nice.
But I was sad. There was, some of the stuff went, and some of the stuff I think was too big for people to take. So I'm not really sure what happened to it. But I was really kind of sad, because I thought, man, I wish I would have gone over there. We probably could have, brought some stuff to the Electric Festival if we, could help him get rid of it. But he only had that one day, and he's like, I'm out of here. So, but the most important thing is it's back here, and I'm excited. I'm super excited to have it. So
nice. That's awesome.
We'll see where it goes from there. So it does
take
up the whole trailer.
We're going to have to rename it, though. We're going to rename it the Big Mike.
I thought about that. I was thinking about, doing some graphics or something that had, put like his name on the cockpit or something, put Big Mike in there, or
okay, I'm
maybe
just going to toss this out at you. I don't know if it's reasonable. So for some reason, a friend of mine just gave me an engraver. So I have this new engraver. I haven't opened it up yet, but I mean, it takes photos and engraves them on, it's like what you would think for a 3D printer, right?
Right.
And it's just an engraver, a laser engraver. I could actually cut out thin wood parts too. So I mean, if I wanted to, I could cut out little plain parts with it. But aside from that, I just thought, okay, maybe we could use that somehow.
Maybe so.
It's not. Yeah, it's got a stand and everything, but you can like position it on the part and then make a mounting. As long as you get the focal length right, it'll make. So anyway,
I guess you can cut stencils.
Yeah, it's true. You could cut small stencils, like little paint masks or something.
What we need is a 3D printed pilot bust of Mike.
Yeah, we do. I'm working on that.
Mike has a resin printer. Yeah,
I do, right back there. You can see it.
Yeah, you could probably do that.
Actually, believe it or not, I just picked up, Jay and I were on the phone the other day. I just picked up the new iPhone 14 Pro. It's got a LiDAR sensor in it. And I've been working on 3D modeling, with the phone, trying to figure it out. So it's it is a little more difficult than it looks. Everybody makes it out like, oh, you just take a picture and boom, you got a 3D printer to print. Yeah, no.
I don't know where you thought that
doesn't work that way.
Well, YouTube channel guy goes, hey, this is the easiest way to do it. And it takes a college education. Ta-da! I know, right? So I got to figure it out. But, so anyway, we're excited about that. And I don't know, the worst thing I could do is just put, not really the worst, that came out wrong, but I guess the least thing I could do is put in memory of my Callaway on the tail, like a little sticker or something. So we can do something like that. Because I do have the ability to do that with my big printer.
We could probably drag a I don't know what they call them, a marquee behind it.
Oh, could do that too. Yeah, a little banner, tow a little banner showing.
Yeah,
could probably get that too. Yeah, that is true. Oh, I did get the little parachute guys too. But the guy that we lost at the last Electric Festival didn't make it, so I only have 3 out of the 4 smuggling illegals, or whatever you want to call them. Whoever the guy's crossing, being smuggled.
I heard you can just buy new ones, so
I can, but it just was funny because he's like, "Here, I got you these," and I started laughing. He's like, "What's so funny?" I said, "Well, I remember that there were 4 of these, but we lost one, right? The parachute didn't open, so the guy he didn't make it."
He's still out in the desert, wandering around, probably.
Probably he's wandering around the desert out there. We'll have to
exactly.
We'll see if Shannon has any sightings of the lost guy. So, well, our time is up, and we're gonna let you go. But let's see, I'm Michael from Arizona.
Sounds like you forgot a little bit. And I'm Jay from the hills of Texas.
And I'm AK Mike in Texas.
And I'm Shannon G in Mesa AZ.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Let's fly.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.